Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lover Society with me, Gert de Tief, and today we are looking at Buffalo Trace. This is a Kentucky straight bourbon, a whiskey with an E. This is going to be my first review with regards to a bourbon. I don't have much experience with bourbon. I remember years ago, my first bourbon was a Jim Beam, and that was just plain disgusting there. I remember we bought a bottle, I think it was about in 90, 91, 92, and that bottle was opened up. We had a taste of it. It went back in the cupboard. And I think here by 2010, I took it out of the cupboard again and I poured it down the drain. So next experience that I had with a bourbon was a Jack Daniels. Also in the beginning, not really a big fan of it. So I haven't tried it in many years. The last experience that I had was about a year ago when I purchased a bottle of Rare Eagle bourbon, and I really enjoyed it. So this is going to be my first attempt on a video with bourbon, and I hope to be quite surprised when I open up this little sample bottle, and maybe it will encourage me to buy a full bottle. I did a little bit of research on the distillery. As I mentioned, I had the Eagle Rare, and I didn't even realize that Buffalo Trace Distillery is also making the Eagle Rare. So I did a little bit more research, and I found that they are making quite the number of whiskies, and I made a list. And I think the the Buffalo Trace is one of them. The Blanton's Single Barrel. They also make the George T. Stagg. Never seen that one before. Sazerac, don't think I pronounced it correctly. The Rye. They also have the W.L. Weller. I've seen that in the supermarkets here in Europe already. The Ancient Age Antique Collection, I've not seen that before. The Stag Junior, I've seen that in some of the lounges at airports. Van Winkle, heard of it, never tried it before, and of course the Eagle Rare. So for today we're looking at the Buffalo Trace, and I'm just going to give you a quick read what they say on their website. They say the Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey with an E is distilled, aged, and bottled at the most award-winning distillery in the world. For me, that was a little bit of a big statement, so I had to go have a look on their website. And they have an impressive list of awards over the last couple of years. Go look, way too many to mention, but they do make apparently a good whiskey. So the Buffalo Trace is made with corn, rye, and malt barley. They say they age their whiskey in new age barrels. For years in century-old warehouses. So they don't state exactly how many years, but if you do a little bit of digging, they say approximately 8 years in maturation. It is bottled at 45% ABV, which is kind of nice, but they just don't go for the 40%. So the 45% ABV is welcome. I looked online, and in Europe, you're going to pay 24 to 26 euros for a bottle, and in US, they're looking at about around 35 euros per bottle. All depends on where you probably buy. So, enough about the distillery. I'm going to open this little sample bottle, going to give it a nose, a taste, a score, and give basically my first real opinion with regards to a bourbon whiskey. So I'm going to open the bottle. We're going to have a quick look at the color. It's a nice golden color, not very dark, but it's not very light either. Actually looks quite pleasant on the eye. So on the nose, wow, it's quite sweet, but not overly sweet. A lot of apples. When you hard cider, some people call it. In where I grew up in South Africa, we had a couple of brands of apple cider, and one of them is called a Savannah. So this reminds me quite a lot of a Savannah. Of a Savannah. The alcohol is definitely there. As you can see, I'm just starting to cough already. That's a telltale sign that the alcohol went straight down the throat, and it opens up the cough reflexes. And I think the next one that comes to mind is you know, the orange cough drops that you get. The smell is totally in that direction for me. A little bit of a toffee note. The vanilla, slight vanilla in the background. But then I get the fantastic cinnamon coming out. And I do love cinnamon. So for me, that is one of the nicest flavors in this whiskey. There is a hint of spice, a little bit of maybe a clove type of spice. The hint of the cinnamon and the clove playing together. The caramel notes. A little bit of a pine note, that pine resin, that sweet pine resin is also coming out. Sugary notes, the brown sugars, it's there. The sweetness, it's quite enticing. Like I said, it's not that sickening sweet, but it's a nice lingering sweetness. And maybe a little bit of dried fruit, something like apricots, maybe a little bit date, but create a little bit of more sweetness to it. It is quite an interesting nose to it. Every time I go back, I find something different. And I think if the taste is half as good as the nose, I'm definitely going to be a Buffalo Trace lover. So let's move on to the taste. The taste profile is completely different from that of a Scotch whiskey. And I think it's got something to do, well, probably does have something to do with the corn and the rye. Well, I actually don't even know how to describe it. But if you give me a Scotch and a bourbon and you put them next to each other, I will immediately distinguish the two from each other. The flavors are completely different. The sweetness is there, but again, it's not overly sweet. And I think this is a little funky corn rye mixture that give me a flavors that I've never really experienced before. My only reference point is the Jim Beam, which was plain disgusting. Couldn't drink it, and the Eagle Rare. But for me, it wasn't this different taste in the Eagle Rare compared to this one. So I might have to go buy another bottle of Eagle Rare just to do a little bit of a comparison in the future. It is a little bit of a spicy note, but not too spicy. Quite pleasant. There is a little bit of a oakiness, which I expect as well, but it's very toned down. It doesn't leave any oaky feel in your mouth in the aftertaste. A little brown sugar. Sweetness is definitely still there. Vanilla is there, but it's hidden in the background. My favorite spice, the cinnamon, no longer there. Even on the smell, I don't get it anymore. And I must say, I do enjoy it. And I think that is something that I will definitely try again. Maybe get a full bottle and spend some time with it. Make sure that I can get much out of it. It is 45% ABV. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, just to see if it changes the profile. I'm going to give it maybe 5 minutes with a little bit of water added. And then I will come back and I will see if there's any changes in the profile. So I added just a teaspoon of water, toffee apples, loads more cinnamon. So for me, it makes me happy. The alcohol is not so strong on the nose, and it doesn't bring out the cough reflexes. Well, it makes a big difference on the flavors. It makes it a little bit sweeter, actually. Also takes away some of that hint of oak that was there. It almost completely disappeared. Again, I'm learning, and I've learned actually in my previous video, add a little bit of water, especially when the ABV goes up. Add a little bit of water and you'll be surprised the difference that little bit of water makes. So I might do that in all of the videos. Also, this nice sweet aftertaste. Not a long finish, but it's a pleasant finish, and you want to go in and try a little bit more. Maybe you find a little bit more and you keep on digging in. Yeah, could be a little bit dangerous, I think. I would definitely, if you have never tried a bourbon before and you're used to the Scotch, try it. Well, I just decided to buy a lot of this small miniatures because I hate wasting money on something that I'm not going to like. So I think it's always a good idea. I found the perfect online store here in Holland that supplies you with all the different types of miniatures. And I've bought I think about 10 or 11 of them. And I'm going to do reviews some of the different type of whiskies that they offer. And cheap. And of course, you decide then if you like it or not. If you don't like it, you don't lose a lot of money um, because the big bottles can be quite expensive. So definitely, I would recommend this. Give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comment section. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I see you next time with one of my new edition miniature. Stay safe. Cheers.